You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the December 18th meeting for the Michigan City Planning Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to,
When two strikes down, you're good to go. Two strikes, Rose.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the final Planning Commission meeting of 2025. I will appreciate your patience as this is my first time presiding over the meeting. So I would like to call the meeting to order. Mr. Schuyler, can you do the roll call, please?
Yes. Mr. Balling. Mr. Connolly.
Here.
Mr. Dabney. Mr. DeMedici.
Here.
Mr. DePalma.
Here.
Mr. Hoffman. Mr. Klinder.
Here.
Ms. Tieta.
Here.
Mr. Werner.
Here.
Thank you. Have we all had the opportunity to review the agenda? We'd like to go ahead and approve the agenda for this evening.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second. I'll call the vote. Mr. Connolly.
Yes.
Mr. DeMedici.
Yes.
Mr. DePalma.
Yes.
Mr. Klinder.
Yes.
Ms. Tieta.
Yes.
Mr. Werner.
Aye.
Okay, next, the approval of the minutes from our last meeting. Are there any questions or comments corrections from the commissioners? Or do we entertain a motion to approve the minutes? The minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Call for the vote. Mr. Connolly.
Yes.
Mr. DeMedici.
Yes.
Mr. DePalma.
Question, if I was not in attendance, can I still approve or should I abstain?
I believe you abstain.
You can do either or, I believe. It's up to you.
Abstain.
Okay. Mr. Klinder.
Yes.
Ms. Tieta.
Yes.
Mr. Werner.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Okay, this evening, we do not have any petitions on the agenda, so we will move directly into old business, new business. First is the Neighborhood Preservation Ordinance. Mr. Schuyler, do you have a presentation for us?
Yeah, so this is held over. I couldn't do the presentation because we didn't have computers the first time we kind of talked about this. But I'd like to give you the presentation, at least so you can see what we're talking about.
May I make a comment or a motion may I make a comment before you start your presentation, Mr. York?
Sure. You're the president.
Yes. And so, okay. So I'd like to ask Mr. Hale if the notice of this meeting complies with the Michigan City Code, and just because I'm being a lawyer, I'm referring to Article 7, Section 2-440. I understand that the agenda was not posted in the website, and so I want to ask Mr. Hale if he thinks that there is an issue with whether we can proceed on this topic in light of what I just said.
was in the notice, but it wasn't on the website.
I don't,
Was it published? Was it put on the notice board?
yes.
Was this published?
I assume it went to all the people that Debbie sends it to.
Okay. But doesn't she, there's some sort of notice of our meeting?
Yeah, we posted the notice. The notice went, yeah, this notice. That was notice.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Domenici, I believe that we can go ahead and have this discussion. It's a presentation only, and I think there was enough parameters of notice for us to go forward.
With that answer and that qualifier, thank you. You've responded to my question.
Okay. Y'all ready? Let's see it.
Yes, if you'd like to proceed.
Cool. So we've been talking about this for quite a while now. I'll just jump into it. The neighborhood preservation ordinance, the way it stands right now, it actually already exists in certain areas. It exists in your R1E area. It's part of the zoning code as it stands right now. R1E is basically the area, this was put in place mainly for the area behind what we would call, I think that people call it Hungry Hollow, wherever it's the Sheridan Beach area, but it's on the back side of the dune there, where you have standard 50 by 100 lots or 45 by 100 lots, or sometimes even 35 by 100 lots. Basically smaller lots, gridded neighborhood, etc. But it does exist at this point in time, and it is part of the zoning code in R1E. When we created this code, golly, when did we create it? 2016, probably. I think it was when it was adopted originally into the R1E standards. The goal was to encourage new housing to come back into the vacant lots in that area, Wash Park Boulevard, etc., those areas. It was more of a test fit to see if it worked, and it does work, and we have used it on a couple of houses in that area, actually, that are brand new houses. What it does is it helps make the houses fit into the neighborhood, meaning that you don't have to abide by the typical setbacks, which I'll get into in just a minute, setback standards and things of that nature, corner lot setback standards, which are really hard to deal with, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So jumping into it, what's the problem? Michigan City, like many older cities, we have these first ring suburban around the downtown, which back in the day, that would have been your suburbs from the downtown. The issues is that a lot of these lots that you have there, if you were to subdivide nowadays, you would always be subdividing our lowest denomination of land is 50 by 100. Back in the day, you could do 45 by 100, 35 by 100, sometimes even smaller for shotgun houses. We don't really do that no more. We do 50 by 100. If you look at our zoning code, every single one of our residential zoning is 50 by 100. So it makes it really cumbersome when we've torn down a lot of houses. We have burned down houses. We have, houses that just have, they don't exist no more on the historic lots. So the goal of this is really to make something to help put houses back on these lots that make sense and that fit into our neighborhoods and bring value to our neighborhoods. And I would also say, so we're not creating maybe the traditional cookie cutter type approach. So why do we need flexibility? It allows reinvestment in the form of new homes in our older neighborhoods. It creates a buy right situation where I don't have to go get a variance now to do a setback relief or a square footage relief or a side lot setback relief or a corner lot setback relief. It preserves neighborhood character. It allows smaller homes which fit into the neighborhood. And it allows, without this flexibility, probably just about every single house that we would be putting into, like, say, my neighborhood, or things that were built in the 1940s in my neighborhood, they wouldn't be allowed by right today. They're too small, the setbacks don't match, or the corner lot setbacks don't work. So basically, we end up zoning out new investment for houses in our neighborhoods. So, as I mentioned before, we already have this zoning. It exists right now. It exists in the R1E only, though. It allows us to do averaging of setbacks. That's really all it deals with right now is setbacks. Keep on going. What I'm proposing is that, and the intention of this code was always to test it, see if it works, and it does work, and then expand it to our older neighborhoods. Hence why it's called preservation ordinance, neighborhood preservation ordinance. R1D is basically the one that I'm proposing right now that we fit it into. The reason why R1D works is it's almost all of the historic gridded street pattern that you see up there is just about probably 90% of it is R1D. R1D allows single family residential in it. You basically have similar lots as what you would have in, say, the Sheridan area. They're 45 by 100, 35 by 100. Some of them are 50 by 100. So that's what I'm proposing, is that we expand this ordinance into our R1D neighborhoods, which is a lot, the majority of the old ring, original historic ring, suburban around downtown. So, neighborhood preservation current standards. So, in R1E, single family residential, current standards are you would have to meet a 20-foot setback, a side yard setback of 7 with a total of 14 feet. Corner lot setback, which we'll talk a little bit about this, is 20 feet because on a corner lot, you have 2 front yards. You have a side yard, front yard, and a front yard, normal front yard. So if you're on a corner, and I'll show you an example here in a minute, you have 2 front yards. Our minimum square footage of a home is 1,000. And if you look at R1D, you pretty much have the same code. It's 20 foot. We actually do 5 feet there for setbacks. And then corner lots are 20 as well. And then square footage is 1,000. So they're very similar codes. Keep on going.
Excuse me, Skylar,
Yep.
if I may interrupt with a quick
Absolutely.
question.
Anything.
The 5-foot setbacks, would that be a total of 10 feet, not
Can you-
15, if on the previous slide?
No, you have to have a 15. I believe you have to have 15 total. So 5 on one side, 10 on the other.
Oh, okay, got it.
So you have to slide that house somewhere on that lot.
Okay,
5 is your minimum, though.
okay,
So
thank
you
you.
can't go closer than, so you wouldn't be able to go 4 feet on one side. 5 is your minimum, and then you'd have a total. So you could do 5 and 10, 7 and 8, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So just to give an example, I just chose random streets where there were missing kind of teeth, if you will. And this one, what I'm trying to prove here, also the reason why I did it by hand is to show you that it's not complicated. This is just using beacon information, okay? I'm not saying that we need to go out and measure every single lot. We can do that and get down to that that standard if we want to. But what I'm getting at is, if you see this, this was the one where I was trying to do prove a front setback and make sure that it works. So your front setbacks here are 19, 19, 20, 6, 15, and 15. And then you have 16, 20, 7, 14, and 20. For the green boxes, those are houses, okay? That's the front setbacks. If you take those and average them, that would give you a new setback for anything that was built on the red X's of 16 feet. So they could fit into, so my point is that rather than making people build 20 foot back, let's let them build so that it fits in to the neighborhood and it fits into what's already there. The things you gain on that is you actually gain the opportunity to do to do more square footage if that's what you want to do. You don't have to do that, but it also gains you backyard. Maybe you can build an ADU. Maybe now you can build a garage, things of that nature without using up all of your space on your lot. Okay. I also did the square footage on this. See if I can read these. The first house is 1327, 920, 1070, 930, 1040, 864, 881, 870, 576, 576, and 700. So when you average all those up, your new square footage just for doing it is 905. So what my point is that we would be able to build houses back there at 16 feet setback, and they would be sub 1,000. They could be sub 1,000 houses. They could be 900 square foot homes, which are pretty modest size houses. The next area, keep on going. So to do it again, this is actually in a part of town that I live in. And I would often walk by this or, walk my dogs over here. And I'm like, well, those are some pretty small houses. Actually, those houses are 768 square feet, each one of them. So my point is that you have 4 parcels. If you average those up, you'd be able to get, there's 3 homes, 1 vacant parcel. You'd be looking at a new square footage of 768. And that front setback would then average out to 13. So you'd be able to push it forward and build 768 back on that lot. Do you have to do that? My point of this is that I think all these should be used in a la carte, meaning that if you need a setback relief, let's build a setback relief and build something that fits into the neighborhood because it's in line. But I don't need a square footage relief because that's actually a pretty good lot. You could build 1,000 square foot there pretty easily, but you don't have to, is the point. You could build 20 foot, 5 and 5 and build a pretty good size house there. But you don't have to do that. That's the point. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, keep on going. So, side lot setbacks. These are the hardest to deal with. Corner lots are notoriously hard. This lot is an interesting lot. I picked it out because it's actually sub 50. It's sub 50 feet on the frontage. It's actually 46 foot wide. This lot, if you did it by a traditional method, in that you'd be 20 foot back, and then you'd actually have to be 20 feet off of the side road. It pretty much kills the lot from the standpoint of building probably anything there. It's just not. It isn't conducive. I don't think it's a good practice to do that. I live on a corner lot. I use my house as an example. My lot, I'm 10 feet off my lot line. If my house burned down, now I have to go get a variance to build it back. It doesn't make sense to me. I think this is just smart to do this. Is there a view? So what else I did here is I put in the view shed triangle. As long as you're outside the 25 foot right there, I don't understand why we wouldn't let someone build back a house at 10 feet. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm trying to make smart, flexible decisions here. I think someone should be able to use this lot, average your square footage, average your setbacks. As long as you're not in the 25 and the 25, it fits right into the neighborhood. You can actually see the house on the opposite side. They're pretty much almost zero lot lined over there on that house. So it's basically just going back to the old way we used to do things in these neighborhoods. It's just that zoning has changed so much over the years. It's just that our suburban zoning that we have right now is really suburban, geared toward new development, when we actually need to be investing in where we've already developed. We have capacity there, we have old lots, and we really have neighborhoods that could use new houses. So that's how this works. I guess some of the benefits, some of the benefits of this are just, it's sustainable. It really is a sustainable development practice. We're not sprawling. We're not annexing cornfields, et cetera, extending pipes out further and further and further. Not everybody's going to want to live in downtown. We need suburban development. I'm not critiquing that. I'm saying we need this too. And this is a way that we can make this happen. The infrastructure is there. It's reuse of land without annexation. It provides more assessed value within the city. Just being honest, it provides density. It starts spreading your taxes better inside the city. You already have services there, fire and police, water. You get trash pickup on the alley, or in front of your house. And then it creates a by right process for infill development. There's no need for variances. There's a clear direction for builders. It's a faster development for infill housing. Right now, it's hard to do infill housing. You have to kind of buy the perfect lot. You know what I mean? I talk with people a lot about infill housing, and they're like, oh, I have this 35 by 100-foot lot or 40 by 100-foot lot, and it just becomes very cumbersome to build, or it's on a corner lot, and it's very cumbersome to deal with. So it's like, well, you got to go get a variance for this. And I just don't think that that's very encouraging if we're trying to do infill housing. Other information, like I said, this is meant to be an a la carte, meaning that you don't have to, first of all, you don't have to use this code at all if you don't want to. That's not what we're saying. We're making it available so that it offers some flexibility in the R1D. If you do not want to use it, you don't have to. You just revert back to use the traditional zoning that's there, 20 foot, 5. Fine. Okay. If you need a setback, well, you can use it. If you need a square footage relief, you can use it. The overarching goal here is to encourage reinvestment in the older neighborhood and preserve community character. I think another important aspect is just offer up some alternative standards, some flexibility. And what I think the product that I think we get out of it is we start getting, rather than suburban looking houses, which really fit on 50 by 100-foot lots and are front loaded or something like that, we start getting houses that fit back into our neighborhoods, and they're smaller scale houses. They're pushed forward so that they make that block face feel good when you walk beside it on the sidewalk. They give people more room in their backyard to have a deck, accessory dwelling unit, apartment, or I'm sorry, a garage, things of that nature. That's kind of the reason why I'm doing that, why I'm proposing this, but also this is how we used to build neighborhoods. It's really just going back to the way we used to do it. I would also say I attended, we had some speakers come in LaPorte at the Healthcare Foundation. We had a really good turnout that night. This was actually one of the things they talked about was averaging, allowing people to average setbacks and encouraging infill housing. So we're not the only ones doing it. This is a best practice for people, I guess, across the country now. And like I said, it's the older lots are hard to use, and we need to really make them easier to use. So that's it. That's all I got. It's really pretty simple. The reason why I showed you my handwriting is because it's pretty simple and it works.
Thank you very much, Skylar. Would it be appropriate now to ask a few questions, or maybe the commissioners if they have questions before? Okay. That ordinance, is this the only body that approves that, or will that be have to go through city council?
So we do not approve ordinances. We make recommendations to council. Council approves legislation. So we say, oh, we like that ordinance. We send it forward with favorable, non-favorable, or no decision, right? We forward it to them. That's really the council's really who approves zoning changes or sends it back to us with changes, and then we consider changes and send it back, et cetera, et cetera. There's a a flip flop, if you will, between if they like it or they have changes, then they send it back to us. We have to consider it again, and then we send it back with new recommendations or changes, things of that nature. But really, we just make recommendations.
Okay. The second question is, this does, or I guess could affect current property owners next to the vacant lots. Is there any value in considering like a workshop, or how do we notify them? How does this information get disseminated once it's approved?
So we have a zoning committee, and the committee would call that workshop at the council level.
Okay.
Yes. And that's probably, and then it's notified, they set a date. That's when we start, like, because at that council level, remember, they're going to hear it, make recommendations, and then they can send it back to us for consideration,
Okay, thank you.
for amendments, if you will.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is tentative meeting dates and times, but it seems like public comment. Or I'm sorry, any commissioners have any other comments?
Yes, please. Skylar, in reference to you indicated out on Michiana area or the Lakeshore area, we had a code of R1E or something. Is it restricted to that area and not Michigan? We can't apply it to Michigan City?
No, so the way the preservation ordinance exists right now, it only is applicable to R1E. So anything zoned R1E, it's applicable to. So it won't, so like we can't just transfer it and use it in the R1D or R1C or any other single family zoning classifications, because we only enabled it to be used in R1E. Does that make sense, Mr. Klender?
Yes,
Hope I
thank
answered
you.
the question.
That-
We would
yeah.
need to amend it and adopt these new standards to be applicable in R1D if we wanted to do that.
Is that an alternative also or not? Or
It would be well, that's what I'm
generally what you're saying?
Yeah, generally what I'm saying
Yeah.
is, and then it would, if anyone wanted to use these standards today, I don't even know if they could get a variance, because it doesn't really exist in any of the other zoning classifications. It's only in R1E is where we've done it. And we've only done it for maybe 3 or 4 houses in R1E.
So the zoning commission does not have the ability to allow these variances that you're restricting as far as setback and sites back. If somebody comes and they got a lot and they can't get their house in there, can't they bring it to the zoning commission for a variance approval?
Yes, they can, but that person probably isn't going to do that. They're going to walk away. Yeah, that's what we're seeing. That's why I'm saying they're not going to do that. They're for a house, we're talking about trying to get houses back into our older neighborhoods. They're not going to wait a month. They're not even going to buy the lot at that point in time. It's not encouraging building back. Basically, we're discouraging through the BZA process.
Thank you.
Are we not sending this to council with a recommendation, or are we just reviewing tonight?
I needed to just get it out to you guys because I didn't get to present the whole thing. We kind of went over it on paper, and I really wanted you guys to, I really wanted everyone to see what we're talking about. But remember, the first time we kind of talked about this, we didn't have computers. We didn't have computer access at that time. So I'm not asking for a vote tonight. I'm just presenting it and saying, ponder it, think about it. I wanted to get it out there.
I have a question, but I want to let other people go first. Okay,
Any other commissioner comments? Bruce?
thank you. So Skylar, is there a a metric that people can look at as to whether building a house with 1,000 square feet minimum allows them to show a return on investment in light of the present housing market? And I am uninformed of the answer to the question. I just wonder if there are metrics that people can look at to comfort themselves that if they make that investment, there is a market to meet the price point that they need to get a return.
I don't have a metric like that. I think those seem like more personal decisions on if that person wants to invest in that neighborhood, live in said neighborhood, live in Michigan City.
I see, and we all know that they should live in Michigan City, but that's
Absolutely, 100%. Absolutely. I don't have that metric here. I mean, I've seen metrics where you can see price per square footage, things of that nature. All I'm merely suggesting is how do we make it easier for people to invest in Michigan City and invest in our neighborhoods, to put houses back. That's all this deals with.
Thanks.
Skylar, one more clarification. On your presentation, you have referenced 1,000 square feet minimum. However, as you went further into it, you had referenced like 760, 800, 900. So will those be allowable by this ordinance?
Yes, you'd be able to average your houses on your blocks. So that's the whole point, is to discourage really this what's the word I'm looking for?
McMansion.
Let me address that in a minute. So really we say it's gotta be, in our zoning code, we say it's gotta be 50 by 100, it's gotta be set at 20 feet, and it's gotta be 1,000 square feet. What I'm offering up is to say, I don't think that works in the old city. It just doesn't. It doesn't work. We don't have raw land that we're dividing up. We have land that's already been divided for us, and we have to make our code fit that land rather than the land fit the code. In the suburbs or in the area, so let's take Woodland Ridge, for example, raw land. You can make the land fit the code, but now we're dealing with code needs to fit the land. So we're kind of flipping on that. Which is the way I think about it. We're not going to, so going to the McMansion question, really what starts to happen in your cities is that people can't build on a 40 by 100 foot lot. So they say, well, I'll buy the lot next door. Now I got 80 by 100. I'm going to build a McMansion. That's really what starts to happen in that, because we've basically depress that value, that home value or that land value, because we're not seeing things come back. So it's easier to buy 2 lots and build a 3,000 square foot house next to the 700 square foot homes. It's a little, that's how those things creep in, if you will. So this code helps us develop those smaller lots and make them really valuable, actually, for people who want to invest or build a new house. But what I'm getting at, yes, it would drop those if you did the averaging. And like on my block, most of the houses on my block are 700 square feet. So there's not a lot of vacancies and vacant lots, but if one of them burned down and it sat vacant for a minute, this code would allow them to build back sub 1,700, 650 square feet on that lot.
Okay, thank you.
I got a question, Skylar. So as far as build on a vacant lot, how do you guys average it? 3 houses, 5 houses? How would you average it?
So good question. Great question. So I take the existing lots that are on there, but there's also a caveat that says if there aren't enough houses, we can use the block across the street or next door. It's written into our code. So I didn't really get into the nitty gritty of the code. We can talk about that at some point in time. But it allows us it allows the zoning administrator, I point back there because our zoning administrator, one of our administrators is back there. It allows them the flexibility to kind of look at the blocks and make sure that there's enough houses to do an average. So what if you got a block where there's just vacant and there's one house? Kind of hard to do that, right? We want to make sure that we're flexible enough to use the blocks that exist and try to make theoretically what fits across the street probably was across the street at one point in time. And it probably looked the same.
Okay, thank you.
I hope I answered that question. I feel like I beat around a little bit on it, but.
Okay, thank you. If there are no other commissioner comments, I think we can open it up to public comment. Please state your name and address. Thank you.
Rodney McCormick, 617 Union Street. Skylar's presentation, page 5 of your document talks about my neighborhood. I live right there on Union Street, and I have 2 lots over there as well. And a lot of us want to, and I know I have another friend that owns a few lots as well. The problem that we're having is we don't want to build. It's too expensive to even build 903 square foot property. I'm not looking for no investment. I'm looking for a place if my kids need to have a house, and I don't want them to live in public housing. I don't have a problem with the setbacks, but when he does the average over on my block, I thought this said 903 square feet. But yet when I look down my block, there's 2 houses right there that's 576 square foot. What if I want to build that same property? What if I want to build that same house? And according to what I've been hearing, I can't do it because the average square footage is 900. And my budget, or whatever, however you want to say, what my budget can afford is more closer to 500 square foot. And this is where we having problems at. Nobody wants to build. It's so, our economy is not the greatest right now. I live in an older neighborhood. I've been there for 30 years. And I think the old code should exist. And if you want to build a new neighborhood, like what's out there by the high school, maybe stick those rules with those people that's building brand new neighborhoods. This is a neighborhood that's been here for quite a while. And I don't like it. I don't like the square footage idea at all. In fact, I would say that I should enjoy the same right as the 2 houses down the street if I want to build 576 square feet. But how about this? We're in the city limits. Let's say we got a house somewhere in the city that's 400 square feet. What if I want to build that 400 square foot house? It already exists. Don't I have a constitutional right to do what they're doing as well? If it already exists, whatever our lowest square footage property house is in this city, that should be the minimum number right there. That's just what I believe in. I just things are not growing in our smaller neighborhoods like the one I live in, because there's no repairs or infrastructure work that's being done in the existing neighborhoods right now. It seems as though this administration is investing more in trying to bring in Chicagoland affordable housing, and we can't even afford that. And if the neighborhoods are not, the infrastructure is not being repaired or nothing, sooner or later, we're gonna have more missing. I call it missing teeth. My neighborhood will have more, because you look across the street, we have so many vacant lots. It's unbelievable. And then the city owns a lot of them as well. I think that we need to change this minimum. It's not fair that if in Skylar area, he can build, I think he said it was 700 square feet, but I'm being forced to do 900 because of the block I live on. But yet I have 2 houses that have smaller. And I'll leave you with this, and thank you for the time. I heard the mayor of this city say several times, we cannot tell people what to do with their private property. But here we go again. We have government dictating what's going to come into the neighborhood. You're telling me how to build and what I have to build. That's wrong. If I build a house that's 500 square feet and it passed inspection, who are you to stop me from doing that? And if it's already existing, you trying to limit me from that? That seemed like a violation of our constitutional rights. And thank you for the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCormick.
It's me again. I'll try and be brief.
Please state your name and address, please.
Ian Osborne, 200 block of Walker Street, Michigan City.
Thank you.
I am a builder, developer, investor, and community advocate. I've been building sub 1,000 and tiny homes since 2001. I built my first solo tiny home, which would be, according to Indiana state law, sub 400 in 2004. Sub 1,000 homes and tiny homes are easier to maintain. They're cheaper to heat and cool. They're typically utilize greener practices and materials. They're much quicker to build, and they're cheaper and affordable. So technically would be considered low-income housing. There are possibly hundreds of homes between 500 and 700 square feet already in Michigan City in different areas, near the school administration building, entire neighborhoods that are sub 1,000, sub 700, some sub 600. Hard to pinpoint when the original ordinance was created, possibly the 1970s or 80s. The ordinance could have been created to cease development of low-income housing. Indiana law provides allowance for homes under 400 square feet. 675 IAC 14-4.4.242 states that these homes are legal in every county in Indiana, provided they meet the state code and local code requirements. In fact, in 2016, 110 Carter Road in Sheridan Beach was allowed to be built. 110 Carter Road is 480 square feet, plus a 280 square foot garage. The property assesses at $216,000, market value somewhere between $375 and I would say $400. This is a senior living, single family, over 65 homestead exemption. The averages approach being presented here would only allow a 1,283 square foot build on that block. If you did the averages on that block where that 480 square foot home exists, the average would actually be more than the lowest, which would be 1,283 square feet. Did they receive a variance? Myself and others have been told by the planning department that they won't support a variance for years. In fact, there is a gentleman in Michigan City now who has sub 1,000 modular homes or tiny homes pre-built and has had for years and would love to get people into owner-occupied, quote-unquote, low-income housing. That's, I think, where the hitch is. Our current approach is to continue respectfully to urge local government officials to adopt and honor the following. Number one, 675 IAC 14-4.4-242 pertaining to local jurisdictions adoption to allow sub 400. Number two, section 1.
Excuse me, before you go on, I just
Sorry.
want to remind you that we do only allow 3 minutes for public comment and you have about 15 seconds.
Absolutely.
thank you.
According to Robert's Rules of Order, if any of the other council members would like to hear the rest of what I have to say, which I'm more than halfway through, could I please be allowed an additional 3 minutes to finish?
How do I do that, Mr. Hale?
If anyone would, permit it.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Tom.
Everyone agreed? Oh, you can go ahead. Thank you.
The other thing that I'm asking the city to do is number 2, section 1-14 of the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution states that no state shall enforce or any law or deprive any person of liberty or property, which pertains to the Fair Housing Act, which prevents discrimination, provides equal accessibility to housing. Equal accessibility is what we're after here. If there, as Rodney had said, if there is a home on a block that is 600 square feet, I own a vacant lot, and I would like to, next door to that home that is 675 square feet, I would like to build the exact same thing, just right next door to it. There are 147 vacant single-family lots in the Eastport neighborhood as of 2022. This was a personal study that I did myself with a couple of other people. 147 vacant single-family lots. The reason why is there's no return on investment, as Rodney had brought up. For me to come to the planning department and build a new home in the Eastport neighborhood or the West Side neighborhood, it's going to cost me, with the square footage, cost for square footage, over $200,000 to build. So for $200,000, I can build a new home at 1,000 square foot, or I can average on my block, which still doesn't come under 1,000 square feet, and put it next to a 675 square foot home and then sell it for less than what I paid for it, or less than the cost to build it. That's why these homes and these vacant lots, excuse me, that's why these vacant lots are making their constant rounds through the tax sales. When you go to the tax sales, people are letting them go because when they come to the planning department and they say, hey, I'd like to build a home, and then they start crunching the numbers and learn that it has to be 1,000 square feet or 900 square feet, they realize that there is no return on investment. And so they stop paying the taxes and the property goes back on the tax rolls or on the tax sale chop block. So I'm here to ask the commission to please hold on before moving this to city council until I hope I've shown that there's a higher vantage point here available, even if I've just scratched the surface of this. And by state and constitutional right, this is what we seek. These are cases that are being heard on the Supreme Court level pertaining to tiny homes. And to be honest, I don't want to build less than 400 square feet. I just want to build what's right next door. And so do the other people in my neighborhood. We just want to be able to build what's affordable. I have the ability right now to bring a factory to Michigan City as a cooperative factory where we can build 30 homes. If we can get a guarantee for 30 homes, we can build homes brand new under $75,000. What's the mortgage on a $75,000 home? 500, 600 a month, and you own it? Instead, our rentals are going sky high because we're not building houses, because there's no ROI in some of our neighborhoods. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne.
Hello, Board. Scott Melantur in Kenwood Place. Seems to be a lot of confusion about this. Right now, the zoning allows a minimum of 1,000 square feet. It doesn't matter if things average to 1,200, you could still build a 1,000 square foot house on a lot. Everything about this is good planning from my perspective. This enhances private property rights of these lots that essentially are non-conforming by today's standards. Also, what people need to remember is variances would still be on the table. If you wanted to go for a 400 or 500 square foot house, you could still have the variance procedure is still available. What this is doing is enhancing the value of these existing infill lots that we struggle to build on because return on investment is very difficult the smaller a project is. That's why everything that's built, generally speaking, is a luxury development. There's more margin the higher up the scale you go. Congratulations to a person who sees a return on investment at 400 and 500 square feet. I celebrate them. But even this town has shown that we're open to this type of thing with our Carwick Village, which is a grouping of tiny homes, effectively. But it's higher density, and it's an affordable price point for those owners. So small houses would be are very helpful for large segments of our society, retirees, singles. And this is attempting to allow smaller houses as a matter of right, whereas now people would have to get a variance, which means you have to do proper legal notice to your neighbors. You have to get an attorney most likely to show up here. It adds a lot of complication. This adds utility to our existing things. One of the problems blue cities tend to have in our red-blue world is we have restrictive zoning that makes building more expensive. This is a step in the direction of making building more affordable for people in these non-conforming infill lots. Again, this is positive urban planning. I would suggest to the board, as cautious as some of our members are, don't ponder this too long. It's not that complicated. Variances are still available. And we have an existing example that apparently has been well received. This allows smaller houses. It doesn't mandate smaller houses. You still can build your 1,000 square foot or whatever that lot supports. Variances are still available. And I think it's good planning. I celebrate Mr. York for bringing this to your attention. I think this is would be a smart move for Michigan City to allow more affordable housing to be built on lots that currently don't work for that. I think when people really get their heads around it, they see this nothing but positives. Again, it enhances private property rights. People who own those lots can't build now. With this, they might be able to. And that's a good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Millen.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dale Cooper. I live at 214 West Twin here in Michigan City. I am obsessed with tiny houses. I've lived here practically all my life. I worked at the same job for 25 years. I'm a senior citizen. I'm going to probably work another couple of years, then I'm going to retire. I'm going to move into a tiny house. That's what I'm going to do. I would absolutely love it to be here in Michigan City. I'm steeped into this city, into this county. I volunteer for lots of different things here in the city, and that's what I'm going to do with more of my time when I retire. I would love for it to be here, but if there's no tiny house for me to move into and there's one somewhere else, I'll move somewhere else. I would absolutely love for it to be here. I need it to be sub 1,000, but probably between 400 and 600. It's just me. I want a smaller footprint. I want something I can handle easier, something I don't have to do to maintain a lot, so I can go out and do more things in my community. I'll have more time for that. Please consider what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cooper. Any final public comments? Any final comments from the commissioners?
I got a quick comment. Skylar, can you explain to me real quickly? There's a difference between RE1 and RD1.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So the difference is R1E is a waterfront residential code that we use. How do I explain it? Basically, it just differentiates the area of town that you're in. Just being very honest, there really isn't a lot of differences in it. As far as zoning wise, it's still 2.5 stories. It's still 35 feet. It's still the only really difference is that 7-foot setback versus the 5-foot setback, and then it has some of that area has an overlay zone on it that's on the front side of the dune. So Lakeshore Drive up the top of the dune and then the lake has an overlay zone on it, and it's still zoned R1E, but it has an overlay zone. Back side of the dune, tip of the dune down is just zoned R1E. I don't know why we differentiated it back in the day. I can't tell you. I wasn't here when we did the zoning that time. And then the really only difference between it and R1D, I would argue probably just different location of town. The zoning's pretty much the same. You're still dealing with the sub 5,000 square foot lots, sub 50 footage of feet of frontage. You're still dealing with the same kind of lots, if you will. They were all pre-subdivided. They were probably subdivided in the 20s to the 1940s is when those subdivisions went in. And actually, the post-World War II houses would have been, those are the smaller houses that you actually see. Many of those are not from the 70s. They're from later, much, much earlier in time. A lot of post-World War II houses were all sub 1,000. You're dealing with 700 square feet, 650 square feet, 550 square foot homes. They're much smaller homes. If you go down Ohio Street, you'll see a lot of post-World War II houses. A lot of our neighborhoods have the older 1940s, 1950 houses in them.
So R1E still has to go through the same average when they're building as the,
You don't have to. Keep in mind, this is not a have to. This is a just if you want to.
okay.
Yeah, you don't have to. So in R1E, it's the same base code. 1,000 square foot minimum, 20-foot setback, 5 feet on the sides, 20 foot in the back. There is no, if you want to use the averaging, you can. People in, say, let's see, on Fogarty, I believe it's on Fogarty Street, they had to use the averaging because the lot there was maybe 40 foot wide, 45 foot wide. It was very small. And they had to average. And they wanted to average because they wanted to push their house forward to gain some back area so that they could have an outdoor kind of entertainment area, like a patio. So it allowed them to gain some space by pushing forward. But if you look at the house, which is actually one of these houses, my point in showing this, which I know is a terrible photo, it fits right into the neighborhood.
Yeah,
It looks like the other houses.
Yep.
Story and a half, setback's the same, got a front porch on it like the older houses would have had. It just kind of fits in.
Okay, thank you.
Last item on the agenda is meeting dates for 2026. I don't have those in front of me. Do we at least have to, thank you. Have you guys had a chance to review? There's no vote required for this, is there, Mr. Hale?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's
For the meeting dates? Okay.
Yeah, we need a vote. We'll go and change. Yeah, we can always change them later.
Okay. Have you all reviewed the tentative dates? Are we ready to make a motion to approve those?
Ms. Tieta, man.
Yes.
So I know that the November and the December dates, I realize where they're at. They typically kind of fall the same every year. We end up changing those dates anyways, rather than me dictating when we were going to do that and polling all of you to figure out when you were going to be in town and when you're not going to be in town. I just left them. And then I figured in October, we would need to look forward. Do we have any petitions? Do we have anything business we need to deal with? You guys could take the opportunity to change that to when it fit your schedules.
Sounds good. Oh, do we have a motion to approve the tentative meeting dates for 2026, knowing that we will likely change November and December due to holidays?
I'll make a motion as you stated it.
Second.
Roll, please.
Sorry, my fault. That's my fault. Mr. Connolly,
Yes.
Mr. Domenici,
Yes.
Mr. De Palma,
Yes.
Mr. Klender,
Yes.
Ms. Tieta,
Yes.
Mr. Warner.
Aye.
Perfect. We'll get these on the website.
Okay, so our next scheduled meeting is January 27th. I think we don't need a roll to adjourn, do we? No. Okay, in that case, this meeting is adjourned.
Excuse me, if I could, please, Commissioner comments. I want to apologize to our president. Last meeting, I made mention of the fact that he didn't have the right to make a motion, that it was only among the members. And I want to stand corrected. I looked up under Robert's Rules of Orders, who was a U.S. Army officer, Henry Roberts, who stated, "The chair has the same right to make or second a motion or debate it as the other board members." So I apologize, and I stand corrected.
First of all, no need to apologize. Second, that's actually quite funny. You should see a smile on my face because, of course, I went and looked at Robert's Rules of Order and spent some time pondering this as well and came up with substantially the same conclusion you did. But I just think it's very funny that both you and I decided that that was worth our time to review.
Yeah, I've been president of many organizations and never been allowed to make a motion before. So through the last 30 years, I've stood limited.
In fact, I was thinking today that like, since I decided to have Rose conduct the meeting, which I thought just made more sense with her being there in person, I thought, gee, I think that means that now I can make a motion today. This is exciting.
Oh, Chair,
Mr.
Mayor,
Mr. York, please proceed.
before we go, first of all, thank you guys for hearing me out tonight. But I do want to introduce two people that are in this audience, and they're Dr. Dominique Edwards and Mr. Lucas Lopez. They are going to be taking over for me after the first year. I may still come and present to you from time to time, but they will be taking over. I have enjoyed my time on the Planning Commission. Thank you all very, very, very much. But I'm going to hand it off to these guys. I'll probably still be helping out a little bit, but I want to make sure that you put names to faces, faces to names. When it comes to subdivisions, I'm helping Lucas learn how to do those things. He's great. He's very smart, intelligent, as well as Dr. Edwards, very intelligent people. And yeah, I just want to make sure you get to introduce Dr. Edwards.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for the opportunity to continue to serve my community in this capacity. So,
Congratulations.
Welcome, Lucas. Welcome, Dominique.
Welcome. Planning director, assistant planner, associate planner.
Yeah, I'm happy to be part of the team.
Thank you both. We'll see you in 2026. I think that does conclude our meeting. So happy and safe holidays, everyone. We'll see you next year.
Thank you. You too.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Everybody.